Hey, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Volkov versus Werdum, heavyweight clash of the ages. Oh, man, there's a lot of ups and downs with this card from the fanboy in me. Yeah, wow. I was just, some of my favorite fighters lost, some of them won, and I was on the edge of my seat on some. And then the Paul Craig match on the prelims, I was ecstatic with that late finish. Two late finishes. Paul Craig got a submission triangle choke, 1 second left in the third and final round. And then Leon Edwards got a late finish with a second or two left in the third and final round, TKO punches. So yeah, this is a post-fight rundown on the main card, and let's get started. So the main event was a heavyweight clash with Alexander Volkov versus Fabricio Werdum. Volkov was a superstar in Bellator, and then Werdum, I mean, everyone knows who Werdum is, and I went, like I said on my pre-fight, I believe I went back and forth on this one on who was I going to pick. But I ended up picking Werdum because I thought he would get the takedowns and get the submission at some point. And he did get takedowns and takedown after takedown, and it was looking good. And then midway into the fight, it started to look like shades of the Alistair Overeem, Fabricio Werdum Strikeforce match, where Werdum kept falling to the ground, hoping that his opponent would jump in his guard, and then the opponent was like, no, I won't do it. And, you know, Alexander Volkov was pretty much in the same mindset that Alistair Overeem was in that Strikeforce fight against Werdum. Yeah, Alexander was like, I'm going to keep this fight standing. I'm starting to look good on the stand-up. Let's take this and run with it. And ended up working. Next thing you know, in the fourth round, Fabricio Werdum falls to the ground, and then Alexander jumps on him with a couple shots to the head and gets KO punches, victory over Fabricio Werdum, the former UFC heavyweight champ. And yeah, Alexander Volkov, he's beat Stefan Struve, and he's beat Roy Nelson and Timothy Johnson. Now Fabricio Werdum in the UFC, and he's looked pretty good on the Stefan Struve fight and this one. Because, I mean, when you think about it, he was on his back defending submissions from Werdum for parts of this fight, and he was able to hold his own. I mean, he was hanging in there. You got to give him credit. So Alexander's jiu-jitsu skills are actually pretty underrated, if you ask me. And Fabricio Werdum, I think, you know, he'll look back at this fight and hopefully learn from his loss. But Alexander Volkov is definitely a future contender in the heavyweight division after a performance like this, taking out a top 5 guy in the heavyweight division. Alexander Volkov, yeah, I want to see him fight another top 5 guy in the heavyweight division. If not, well, yeah, I would say have him fight a top 5 guy, wins that, gets the winner of DC and Stipe Miocic. So that was a great fight. Then in the co-main event in the light heavyweight division, you had Jan Blachowicz versus Jimmy Manuwa. Wow, I couldn't believe this one. I thought Jimmy Manuwa would land combinations early and get the big knockout win. Jimmy Manuwa seemed to be headhunting in this fight, looking for a big right hook or big left hook that would just rattle Jan, and then maybe finish with a jab or an uppercut. And it wasn't there. Jan was working the jab, working the takedown attempts to throw off Jimmy's game, and it worked. And yeah, Jan won 29-28 on 2 of the judges and 30-27 on the third judge. And I think the third judge got it right, because I had Jan winning every round here. I mean, the strikes was pretty lopsided. It was like borderline 2-to-1 strikes overall for Jan, and I think he won every round pretty decisively and looked good in this fight, and definitely moves up the rankings. Yeah, Jan is a veteran that's paid his dues in the UFC, and I think you got to give him a top 5 guy now in the light heavyweight division. Another top 5 guy, I should say, in his next fight. Then in the bantamweight division, you have Tom Duquesnoy versus Terrion Ware. This one went back and forth. Terrion Ware had some success on the stand-up. There were some good low leg kicks landed for Terrion Ware. Tom Duquesnoy, he landed some good jabs. And I think that won him the fight. I think his head movement and him not staying in the pocket too much and mixing things up and working that jab really won him that fight. But I mean, it was a close fight. It could have gone either way. I was thinking Terrion Ware might have squeaked it out. It looked like Terrion Ware had some momentum going after that third round. Looked like he maybe looked slightly better in that third round, but the first 2 rounds, you could say Tom Duquesnoy, won and thus got 29-28. But I don't see this being a clear-cut win every round for Tom Duquesnoy. I think you got to give at least 1 round to Terrion Ware. But yeah, Tom Duquesnoy rebounds after his loss to Cody Saman with this big victory. Much deserved win here, a hard fought fight, and I can't wait to see more of him in the bantamweight division. And then in the welterweight division, to kick off the main card, we had Leon Edwards versus Peter Sabota. Leon Edwards, still a young fighter, been fighting the UFC for quite some time. Peter Sabota, this is, I believe, his 2nd run in the UFC. And yeah, I picked Leon Edwards to win on this one, and I thought it was going to go to use unanimous decision, like I said on my pre-fight show, or just a clean decision win for Leon Edwards. But yeah, I think the ref did a good job. He stopped it, even though there's only a second or 2 left in this fight. Fighter safety. I mean, it was at the point where Leon Edwards was going to win a decision anyways. And Leon Edwards got a big win over a big name in Peter Sabota. I can't wait to see more of Leon Edwards. He's always fun to watch. He's a great striker. He has flashy strikes. And yeah, he won TKO punches at the tail end of round 3. This was an exciting welterweight fight. I was on the edge of my seat for this one. And then the Paul Craig, going back to that Paul Craig prelim finish, wow. I mean, massive, insane underdog against Magomed, and wow, he got that submission triangle choke, 1 second left. He needed this win. He was coming off 2 losses. Wow, that was a great light heavyweight clash, and I can't wait to see more of Paul Craig. There you have it. This wraps up the post-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Werdum versus Volkov, and stay tuned for my pre-fight on UFC 223, Ferguson versus Khabib. And yeah, it looks like there's a big gap, so I may do some more episodes in the mix of either Nate's Corner or Nate's MMA Corner to kind of fill in a long gap between fight cards. So stay tuned. I'll have something regardless at some point for you guys, and until then, see ya.